Well, hi Tracy. It's great to have you back so soon. I was it just a couple of months back we had a chat about
I don't
things.
think it was even that long ago.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
it felt like it was maybe a month ago at the most,
yeah,
but
yeah.
thanks for having me on again.
Oh, you're very welcome. And of course things are exciting at the moment with the case because as usual, we can rely on you to tell us what's happening and give us information. And as soon as the state filed a response, I got in touch and I said, "Wow, that's quick." And you said,
I actually said when I did my live, I said that I wouldn't be surprised if we saw an answer by Friday.
"Yeah,
And then I said, or maybe Monday. And then it actually did. Technically, they filed on Friday.
yeah,
We hadn't seen it yet. Now it is out. I just don't have a copy and I haven't read it yet,
sure."
but I will soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I was trying to recall how far back when I first met you, as in sort of on Facebook, because you were always this you know expert knowledge on the legal system in
Mhm.
Wisconsin. I'm going to say probably 2016 when I first joined the Facebook groups. There was
Yeah.
there was there was yourself that was very knowledgeable about the legal system there. And so really just how did basically a lawyer and how did scales of injustice sort of come from there?
Well, my background is when I went to Marquette University, and yes, it's the same school that Kratz went to, but I graduated way after he did, or I was done way after he did, whatever, because I kept doing classes. But um, I went to school for criminology and law. That was my major. And I took extra classes at the law school because the law part really interested me. So
Mhm,
I took a couple extra classes at the law school, but I never had any intention of being a lawyer. Didn't want to be a lawyer. I wanted to be more in the investigative side of things,
mhm.
but I did enjoy reading about the law. So I took a couple extra classes like constitutional law and things like that, which most of it's just gone out of my brain now. But I retained enough that I had the ability to still know my way around a court document, and I could understand all the legalese. I still knew what everything meant. I had to brush up on the rules of procedure. I still have to look at the rules of procedure because it's so complicated. But mostly what I didn't know was all the changes in the law that have happened in the last 20 years.
Wow.
So I had to brush up on that. So I didn't even realize it that once these documents came out, I just started explaining them to people because I understood them, and I didn't realize people had a hard time with that until after they started asking a lot of questions and asking
Mhm.
a lot of questions. And I actually started out in the theories group. Were you in that one? I don't remember if we first talked in that one or if it wasn't until I was in the fact family group.
I think it would have been in I think it would have been in the family group. Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I mean, I was a late comer to it.
Okay, then yeah, probably there.
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, I knew nothing about the Facebook group until I had a phone conversation with Sheriff Herman, and he said about the Facebook groups,
Oh.
and I said, "What? There's a Facebook group?"
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
was
that's
actually I was actually an admin in the theories group
right.
very, very early on, like 2 days after I watched it, or maybe
Sure.
within a week of it coming out, I was already an admin and I didn't know
Right.
anything about being a Facebook group admin. I joined the group a few days after, and then by a few days later, I was an admin.
Mm.
And then I refused to go into the family group. I refused to join the family group, and I just said, I'm not in this to get to know the family. I'm not in this. I don't really, I'm in here. I'm here because I want to look into this case and I want to
Mm.
know more about this case, and I don't want to get buddy buddy with the family. So it's kind of hilarious how that all worked out. But I did end up I happened to run into Barb and Carla. I had actually been in some chats with Carla because we were both admins. A lot of the Facebook admins were in a group together.
Yeah.
And then I ran into Carla and Barb at the Buting and Strang event that was in Milwaukee here. And we ended up spending about 45 minutes talking while this thing was going on. We were talking in the lobby, so we missed most of it. But that's how I first started really talking to them. And then it just kind of went from there. And then Carla asked me if I could post some stuff in the family group because she realized that I understood this legal stuff. And that's when really I realized how many people had a hard time understanding this stuff.
Mhm.
It was easy for me because that's what I did. So it was something easy for me to understand, but I didn't really realize how hard people struggle sometimes with how complicated the legal stuff can be and what it
Mhm.
all means. And especially when it comes to procedure, I mean, it's hard enough to read a document, but trying to figure out what's going to come next. What are the possibilities to happen next? How long is this going to take? Because if you remember when Ma'am first came out
Yeah.
and Kathleen Zellner started on this case, people thought Steve was going to be out within a year.
Yes. Yeah.
That was going around a lot. And I was like, oh, I need to warn people. I need to tell people, no, that's not how it's going to work. And so I started doing that. And that just kind of became my role where, the stuff people would wait for me to post about the legal documents. I would explain it. Then I decided to start my own Facebook group, and I started it late. But people have been asking me to do videos for a year before I finally got brave enough to do one. And I started out doing them just in my Facebook group.
Mm.
It took me about another year before I started doing it on YouTube.
Yeah. But we kind of touched on it earlier. It's kind of difficult for you in that sometimes people think that somehow you're sort of anti Stephen Brendan because you're just saying, unfortunately, much as you think the system should work this way, from what we've seen, it's it's not impossible to overturn a conviction, but it's very, very difficult.
Mhm.
And people have a vested interest in
Right.
maintaining the status quo.
Right. And I think people really started to see, I mean, thinking back to what it was like those first 6 months when people were just going by what they saw in Making a Murderer, which was murderer. I can't even talk, which is bad enough what happened in the documentary. But then once the documents started being released and once we started seeing more of the background stuff of what happened, it just got more and more outrageous.
Mhm.
And people say, how can this happen? And it's like, oh, I can tell you, it happens all the time.
Yes.
This is not, a rare thing. And I know people would talk about, oh, I don't want to live in Wisconsin. Wisconsin is actually a great state to live in. It's
Yeah.
actually a very nice place to live. But we have obviously some corrupt counties and sheriffs. We also have some really great
Yeah.
law enforcement people and counties that are very fair. But that's true of every state. Unfortunately, we are not unique in that. We're so much better than compared to Illinois, the Chicago area, and how many wrongful convictions and how corrupt that system was.
Yeah.
And they're finally starting to clean it up. Same with places like Baltimore and even just in Texas in general, where they're called the hanging state for a reason.
Yeah.
That it's kind of shoot first, ask questions later, which unfortunately everybody knows is happening too much now.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that Wisconsin got such a bad rap for Making a Murderer, because I will defend Wisconsin as at least being actually a really nice place to grow up and to live. And, so it's not all like this.
Well, I'm going to say not just you, but Charlie Berens as well. He likes Wisconsin as well.
Yeah, it's a great place to live. It really is. And it's a very nice, it's very, very
Yes.
beautiful state when you drive through it. And a lot of great people. There's a lot of great things that happen here. We have a lot of great festivals in the summer. And, so it's not just the horrible stuff that you see coming out of Manitowoc County. And I hate that we're depicted that way, because that's not how the rest of the state is.
Sure.
It really isn't.
Yeah. It only takes a couple of, bad cops on one occasion, a couple of occasions. And to some of them that it might even seem as if it's a noble cause that they've done what they've done, but
yeah, that happens in a lot of cases, that they plant evidence, but it's because they truly believe that they have the right person. And you can see obviously in cases like this where this is why you don't do that.
Yeah.
I don't care how sure you are, you don't manufacture evidence, you don't plant evidence, you don't suppress evidence, because that is just a recipe for a wrongful conviction.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking forward to this weekend. I think you're on at 1:00 Wisconsin time.
1:00 Wisconsin time. Yes.
That's great. Yep. I do apologize for the fact that one or two people have referred to as the mini mammothon, but it's definitely keep talking till they're walking.
Yes.
But it wouldn't be the same without having you on, and I think you've got Travis to join you.
Well, Travis is just going to be backup as far as what we discussed.
Okay.
We're going to do backup because I am actually getting my second vaccine shot
Right.
immediately prior to the live stream. And I just have no idea if I'll have any side effects. So just in case something crazy happens, if I get deathly ill, Travis is going to be on standby
Yeah.
because we only have an hour and you get Travis and I together and we can't do that in an hour.
Yeah.
We can't just talk for an hour.
I've just remembered as well, just going back to something you said earlier. I've had a couple of chats with Michael Cicchini.
Mhm.
Thank you so much for having him on, because otherwise I don't think I would have ever heard of Michael Cicchini
Right.
and his book. Two excellent books as well. You know,
He
it's
is he is great and his books
yes,
are great. And he really is honest about the problems within our system,
yeah,
especially here in Wisconsin, and the ones that are unique to Wisconsin because of some of our weird laws and how we do things. And yeah, his book was great, and I was very honored to have him on the first Mammothon because he was a great guest, and I could have talked to
yes,
him for hours.
yeah, yep. And as I say, reading that book, it makes you understand. And also I've just earlier today, I was having a chat with Mark Godsey of Blind Injustice.
Okay.
Again, you know, same sort of idea. You know, it's like you're our go-to expert within the group, and at times it must be difficult for you because you're seen as you described yourself. You know, the one that's that downing everything. You know, it must be difficult at times because um, you know everybody wants this case to move forward really quickly,
Right.
but
Right.
it's just not going to happen. But what I would say is that I've known you a while now, and I know and I know that you've got a great sense of humor, and, and you know it's
I try not to take anything too seriously because it
yeah,
really gets, and that's why I did take a break for a while because it was just getting to be too much. I got too involved, too personally involved. I know Steve and Brendan both pretty well, and there's something to be said for staying. My original intention was to stay out of it on a personal level. I
yeah,
just wanted to look at it clinically, and yeah, I got too involved in it. I take things very personally, especially when I see Brendan hurting and things like that. And so, yeah, I have to have humor because otherwise I tend to get too upset and
mhm,
angry. And there have been a couple of videos I've done where you can tell I'm just really pissed. I'm really hot. But even then, I still laugh about it because I just have to. But yeah, the state has really, I know, gotten under my skin a lot.
yeah, yeah. But then looking back, last year was Mamathon 2, the year before Mamathon 1. I mean, how successful were they?
It was unexpected.
Yeah,
The first Mammothon, we put it together in about 2 weeks.
yeah,
It was just this idea I had, I always say I was in the shower and all of a sudden I was like, hey, we should do this making a murder marathon thing, and I thought we should do it for 24 to 48 hours. And then I had just been thinking that, and I kind of threw it out there with some people. And then Richard went on live and said, we're going to do 48 hours. And I'm like, okay, I guess we're sticking with 48 then. Cause I was originally going to start with 24 and just see what people thought. But no, he was all gung ho. We're going to do this for 48 hours. I was like, okay, we can do this. And we only had the four of us as guests that
mhm,
first year.
yeah,
So that was a lot of airtime. But I couldn't believe how many people were there pretty much the whole time. People didn't sleep the entire weekend. When we were done on our last segment, people didn't want to leave.
yeah,
They didn't want to go. And then we had the funny thing from Stacy the next day.
yeah.
We're going through the withdrawals, the Mammothon withdrawals.
No, but nobody's live.
Yeah,
No,
nobody's
no,
like, what's
nobody's
going on?
live.
And it raised a lot of money for the
Oh
guys,
yes,
more than
yeah,
I expected to raise. Was something that I expected to be, I knew
yeah,
there'd be an interest from our regular viewers, our regular
yeah,
people, but we ended up having a total of I think 50,000 views or something like that
yeah,
throughout the weekend in 17 different countries or whatever it was. And it was a crazy success. Unfortunately, there were some downsides to some of the aftermath of it, but when we did the second one, we decided not to do it really as a fundraiser per se, but just to raise awareness, let people know they can still donate to the guys.
yeah,
And I thought we had the second year, we had a lot more hosts, and we had some really great guests. We had
Yep.
more guests the second time around. I had two men who were wrongfully convicted,
Yeah.
Jason Strong and Ricky Kidd.
Yes.
And then I had on John Juka's mom. So and he is still in prison and he's been wrongfully convicted. And Doreen Giuliano. Yeah. Giuliano. I remember I said that. I had to say that right. John Juka's mom. I always just saw her mom. So and she was a great guest as well. And then I had on Sandy Greenman. So I had four guests the second time, and I think everybody had at least three or four guests, I think.
Yeah. But I mean, for me, the real big thing about this is that everybody comes together as a community under one banner. And I remember sending messages to like Steve Drizzen and Jerry Butin, and they were pretty gobsmacked at what we'd managed to do. You know, both in ways, as you say, raising awareness. I mean, you know, when I did a list of all the hosts and all the guests and all the people that were involved in it, you know,
Right.
it was an impressive, you know, just in that first year, it was an impressive list. And I think they sat up and took notice and thought, wow, you know.
Yeah. And I don't think anyone's ever regretted being part of it.
No.
I don't think anyone's ever come back after and be like, I really wish I hadn't done that.
No. Complete opposite.
Yeah. And I know it's disappointing that we're not having it this year, because this would have been the weekend we would be having it.
Yeah.
But just too many issues from last year. And I just was not ready to face that challenge again.
Yeah. I mean, also it's good that we're getting together to do something.
You're getting together to do something
for the dude, you know.
I will always still push to raise money for the guys, because was my whole thing going in, was trying to, you know, fundraise for them. And it was good because I knew what we raised would be set them up for at least a year. They would have enough money. I mean, more than enough money, honestly, for a prisoner, because most prisoners do not have $6,000 that they're given, you know, after a fundraiser, for $3,000 for each. And they don't usually need much in prison.
Yeah.
So, you know, I knew that no matter what, they would both have enough money for the year for whatever their needs were and whatever they needed.
Yeah.
And so that's why even this time I probably will still put up their address. I will encourage people to write them still, to how important that is for prisoners to keep contact with people from the outside, and for people to be positive with them. Don't complain about stuff. I'm always like, stop complaining about stuff to them. They have enough of a burden right now. Just try to keep things positive, keep their hopes up, keep them smiling, send them things that'll make them laugh. People are always afraid that they don't want to hear about people's lives. Maybe it'll be too upsetting to them to hear about your latest vacation or things that you've been doing. And no, that's the exact opposite. They actually like hearing about that stuff.
Yeah.
They really enjoy hearing that stuff, especially Brendan. Brendan loves hearing about anything that you're doing and reading and what TV you're watching, movies you're watching, food you're eating. Brendan wants to hear about it all. He wants to know everything that's going on. And so, yeah, I always like to encourage people to always don't forget about that part. Sure. Don't forget about the contact with them, trying to help them out when you can, instead of just sitting here and talking about it all day, because there are still things we can do to help them out. So I'm always big on that. Just don't forget about the actual people we're here for.
Well, that's a great message to end on. And once again, many thanks, Tracie, for coming and having a chat with us. I'm going to let you go, because obviously you've got a reply to look at and then do an opinion on. So we look forward. That
probably won't be for the next couple of days, but we'll see.
Yeah,
but hopefully by tomorrow.
Yeah, but we look forward to seeing you on Sunday, and keep smiling.
I will.
I will as well.
Thanks for having me.
And I think you quite like that rather cheeky video by Sharon Sunshine about me and Jerome.
I love Sharon. She's the best. Yeah, that gave me a laugh.
Yeah, she's gonna suffer. I'm gonna get my own back for that one.
I can't wait to see what the payback's gonna be on that. You guys have fun.
We will do. Okay, thanks very much. Catch you soon.
Okay.
Bye for now. Thanks very much.